A colossal object has just crossed our solar system. It came from beyond, from interstellar space, and it's far larger than anything we've ever seen before. But what intrigues scientists the most isn't its size. It's the possibility that it might not be natural. Named 3I Atlas, this visitor has reignited an ancient question. How far can science go when faced with the unknown? A new interstellar visitor has entered our solar system, and it's far bigger than astronomers expected. Named 3I Atlas, the object has an estimated mass of over 33 billion tons, roughly the size of a mountain drifting through space. But its size isn't what's most fascinating. What's really dividing the scientific community is the hypothesis that this might not be just a comet. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, one of the most controversial figures in modern astronomy, has published a study suggesting that 3I Atlas could be a technological artifact, perhaps even a probe built by an extraterrestrial civilization. Loeb's theory is based on the object's anomalous features, its unusual trajectory, the absence of non-gravitational acceleration, and a rotational movement that doesn't match the behavior of typical comets. Data from NASA and ESA telescopes have been under analysis since July 2025. So far, the consensus is that Atlas is interstellar in origin, making it only the third known object from beyond our system, after Oumuamua in 2017 and 2I Borisov in 2019. But unlike them, Atlas is vastly more massive, with a solid core over 5 kilometers wide. Still, something about its trajectory unsettles researchers. It seems to be following an almost too precise path, one that lines up closely with planets like Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. Is it coincidence, or some kind of intelligent navigation? For now, most scientists reject the idea of an artificial origin. But the debate has reignited an old question, one that never truly goes away. What if we're not alone? The 3I Atlas was first detected by NASA on July 1, 2025, through the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS, a network of telescopes designed to identify objects that pass close to Earth. But despite its name, Atlas isn't an asteroid. Orbital data reveal that it came from beyond the solar system, following a hyperbolic trajectory, meaning it's not bound to the sun's gravity, but merely passing through our cosmic neighborhood at incredible speed. And that's exactly what puzzles scientists. Ordinary comets usually emit jets of gas and dust as they approach the sun, slightly altering their trajectory, a phenomenon known as non-gravitational acceleration. But 3I Atlas shows none of that. Its path remains perfectly stable without noticeable deviations, even under intense solar radiation. In other words, it behaves as if it were solid, dense, and resilient, far more than any comet ever observed. Astronomer Adam Hibbard, a collaborator of Avi Loeb, has suggested that the absence of non-gravitational acceleration implies an unusual structure, possibly metallic or made of materials unknown to us. Other researchers, however, argue that Atlas could simply have a large, inactive core, making it more similar to an interstellar asteroid than an active comet. Even so, Atlas continues to defy the traditional categories of astronomy. It doesn't quite fit into any of them, and that's precisely what makes it so fascinating. That's the point where the debate stopped being purely astronomical and became philosophical. In July, Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, former head of the university's astronomy department, published a paper suggesting that 3I Atlas might not be a natural comet. According to him, the data observed are incompatible with what would be expected from an object made of ice and dust. Loeb proposed a bold hypothesis. 3I Atlas could be a technological interstellar artifact, possibly built by an intelligent civilization. He based this idea on 3 main anomalies: excessive mass and unusual density. The object is thousands of times more massive than Oumuamua or Borisov, suggesting a dense, compact structure. No signs of non-gravitational acceleration, which points to a solid, possibly metallic body. A precise trajectory that passes dangerously close to the orbits of Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. Something that could, in theory, allow for strategic observations of planets in our solar system. In the article, Loeb wrote, "If it is a technological artifact, two possibilities emerge. Its intentions are either benign or hostile." That single sentence reignited one of the most controversial discussions in modern astronomy. How far should science go when data defy everything we know? Loeb's track record helps explain why the case divided opinions. He was the first to suggest that Oumuamua, discovered in 2017, might also have an artificial origin, a theory that drew fierce criticism, but also placed him at the center of a debate most scientists prefer to avoid. What if we've been observed for much longer than we realize? While Loeb and his team continue to study Atlas's trajectory in search of new evidence, most researchers remain skeptical. The prevailing explanation is still that it's an unusual interstellar comet, made of tougher material than normal. Yet even among skeptics, there's one point of agreement. No existing model fully explains how such a massive body could cross the solar system without disintegrating or veering off course. In the end, 3I Atlas exposes an uncomfortable truth about the scientific method itself. Science only advances when someone dares to ask the questions no one else will. The case of 3I Atlas goes far beyond a debate about a possible alien comet. It exposes the most fundamental blind spot of modern science, our struggle to deal with the unknown. Astronomy is a discipline built on evidence. But what happens when the evidence is ambiguous, incomplete, or simply doesn't fit into any existing model? When Avi Loeb suggested that Atlas could be a technological artifact, he wasn't necessarily claiming that aliens are lurking nearby. What he was really doing was testing the limits of the scientific method itself. What if the most improbable explanation is the only one that makes sense? Questions like that have always made the scientific establishment uncomfortable. They disrupt the safety of established theories and force the community to face an unsettling truth. Science isn't infallible. It's fallible by nature. The history of astronomy is one of constant revision. Planets reclassified, universes expanded, laws rewritten. What seems absurd today might become tomorrow's consensus, and the opposite is just as likely. 3I Atlas, then, is more than just an interstellar object. It's a mirror. It reflects how humanity reacts when confronted with something it can't understand, but still feels compelled to explain. Some scientists choose to close the hypothesis. Others, like Loeb, choose to stretch it to the edge of imagination. Somewhere between those extremes, the truth usually hides, waiting for someone brave enough to look. Even if 3I Atlas turns out to be nothing more than an exceptionally massive comet, it leaves us with a powerful reminder. The universe is still far too vast to fit inside our certainties. And maybe that's why we keep looking up at the sky, not to confirm what we already know, but to remember how much we still don't. 3I Atlas might be nothing more than an extraordinarily massive comet, or something we don't yet have the vocabulary to describe. But regardless of the answer, it has already served its purpose: to remind humanity of the vastness of its own ignorance. Every time something unexplainable crosses our sky, it's not just space that reveals itself. It's the reach of our own limitations. Science doesn't fail when it can't find answers. It fails when it stops looking for them. Perhaps 3I Atlas carries no alien technology at all. But it forces us to ask the question that has driven every act of discovery since the beginning. What if there really is something out there? As it continues its silent journey into the unknown, it leaves behind a reminder that we are merely observers in a universe that never stops surprising us. And maybe, just maybe, from time to time, we're the ones being observed.